Living well. Living well really is the aim of any of the human being in our life, starting from any child patient to any adult growing patients. So what we'll try to do in our program is to give you the medical information in a very light meal and in a very simple way and language. We'll try to discuss about diseases, the causes of the diseases, the symptom of any disease, and then we'll finish by trying to treat or suggest any treatment for those diseases. So the aim of Living Well is not only yours, it's also our aim in our program to give you a very light meal of medical information in a very simple language. Hi there. Choosing what kind of food is really very important for any one of us. Some people, they rather, let's say, eat vegetables rather than meat. And on the other hand, the appearance of the food itself usually will encourage most of the people to eat more or even to eat something that they don't like. For example, if the appearance of the food is a very brighty and let's say it will even make the non-delicious food, it will be delicious because usually the eye will eat before even the mouth. So today I will talk about one of the essential component of food, which is the food coloring or food dyes. So the food coloring during the last 50 years, they increased by 500%. So just imagine that the use of those coloring inside our food increases more than fivefold, so up to 500%. So almost any kind of food these days, it will contain food coloring. And the main aim of the food coloring, it's not only to give a very nice looking to the food itself. No, it will even sometimes affect the taste of the food. The main question that almost all the people will ask, that is, those food coloring agents, are they harmful or harmless? Would they affect my, let's say, general health, or they are not affecting any kind of general health? So let me first emphasize about the coloring of the food itself. We all know that in the old ages, usually the use of the food color will be from a very organic and a natural source. But due to the increased demand of those agents for the food coloring, nowadays almost all the food coloring are artificial in origin. Some of them, they are approved, for example, approved by the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, or some of them, they are illegally, let's say, inserted or illegally used in some kind of food. Most of the time, usually they will use it in the candies, for example, or even sometimes they might use it with some kind of meat, like for example, the salmon. So the salmon meat, for example, it is one of the commonest, let's say, food to use the food coloring. Along with the first in the list, we'll say it is the candies. And most of the time, usually the children will eat the candies which is full of artificial coloring. To answer the question that is those food coloring agents are harmful or harmless, or are they of any benefit for the human being, this actually question will have a very controversial opinion. Some of the studies indicate that those coloring agents, they will not affect the human body, but on the other hand, they said that it might affect. And the most studies emphasize that one of the major, let's say, I will say, complication of those food coloring agents will be hyperactivity in children. So we all know that involving any of those food coloring agents in the food, especially in the candies, usually it will produce hyperactivity for the children itself. Another kind of complication related to the allergies. We all know that since they are artificial agent, let's say, so they will cause allergies to the usually the young generation, or it might make them more prone to develop allergy related diseases, like for example asthma or allergic rhinitis or hypersensitivity. So all of these are a well-known complication of the artificial food coloring. But since we have some food coloring which is from a natural sources, on that other hand, we'll say that those will be of a benefit to the human body. Well, let me tell you about the beginning of using the food coloring agent. It started in 1856, and the first actually food coloring agent, it was extracted from coal tar. But unfortunately these days, almost all the food coloring agents, the source of them will be petroleum. Yes, we all know that we have like a complete list of the food coloring agent that is not allowed to be used. And fortunately here in Kuwait, we have a very strict, let's say, control for the use of the artificial coloring. So once you choose anything to eat, like candies, for example, or a chocolate, or any kind of food material, the first thing that you need to look at, it is the component of that food material or food stuff that you are eating. Stay away from the artificial, let's say, coloring. Try to make your food more towards the organic sources rather than the artificial coloring agent. So what are the food colors or the food coloring agent that is approved by the FDA, or sometimes it will be approved by the food safety agent? There are many, but I will just emphasize about the commonest one that usually we'll use. For example, the red number 40 and the yellow number 3, along with a couple of the blue coloring. All of these agents are very well known that they are approved by the FDA, along with other, let's say, artificial coloring that have an organic source or a natural source. So as I said, that the main aim to use the artificial coloring, food coloring, it is to give a nice appearance to the food itself and to make it more tasty and more edible. The thing which is very important, that since most of those coloring agents will be used in the candies, so it is important for you as a parent to have a look on whatever candies your child brings to the home, or whenever you are buying some candies, it is important to concentrate or to just dig a little bit about the source of those food coloring agents. Avoid anything that is not FDA approved, or avoid anything that is not approved by the Food Safety Organization in your country. And as I said, it is very well known, and you can just look in Google and find those coloring which are allowed.